Hi, everybody. It's Mark Hanna with Wisdom Gaming. Here again, bringing to you another round of this amazing game. I'll tell you what, this is taking over my ASL Advanced Squad Leader world these days. I'm spending a lot of time on this. But I'll bring more to you about that in other videos. Right now, I'm going to continue on with the Waterloo situation. I played 3 hours of this game. One of the reasons I did that is because the third 3 p.m. turn was so quick. There's basically 2 or 3 activations, and both times they rolled end of turn results. And even the 4 o'clock turn was quite short as well. So rather than trying to detail all of the um, minute by minute activities and individual activations like I did for the 1 p.m. turn, I noticed that those videos were dragging on. I had 3 long videos for 1 hour of gaming, so, well, at least real-time gaming on the battlefield from 1 to 2 p.m. So what I did was this 3 hours of worth, and now we're at the start of 5 p.m. I'm going to go over some situational maps and talk to you about what's going on. But the important point that I want to show you here is I tallied up the scores. And this is the score at the moment. Pretty amazing. French have earned 512 victory points, and the coalition 522. However, the French have done devastating damage to the coalition when it comes to victory points on the ground. 235 points versus, what is it, 68 points against the French. But the coalition has held the objectives. So we're going to see what's coming up for the rest of the Battle of Waterloo coming up here shortly. But let me show you some situational maps. Here, let me get my annotation tools out, make a mess of things. Okay, so you can see here the Prussians have come in here. All right, and they've sent out their cavalry ahead of the rest of the corps. And over here, I'll change the color here to French bleu, the blue French. You can see that the Fourth Corps had a breakthrough here at Smohain, and that was unexpected at the end of the turn. I think I might have mentioned it last time. Anyway, so that's what's going on this flank. On the other flank, over here, the situation around Brain-l'Alleud has more or less stabilized. Let me clear off those markings now, as those are irrelevant. You can see that Uxbridge's Cavalry Corps has confronted. Here's Uxbridge. Let me get another notification here. So Uxbridge is here. He's brought his corps in. Also, you'll see that the other Cavalry Corps is over here ready to stop the French from coming around the corner. And they probably have successfully protected this particular objective, Merbe. So one of the French objectives was to get to this hex. They did get it, which alleviated a victory condition, instantaneous victory condition possible at the end of 4 p.m. They had also alleviated that by causing at least 100 points worth of casualties, which they did do also. But the French are somewhat getting slowed down over here at this time. They do have orders at the moment to launch this assault. Here, let me change the color one more time. These guys are heading over that way. These guys are still heading that way from the 6th Corps. But with all this heavy cavalry over here, well, when I say heavy, large amount of Allied cavalry, they probably won't be doing that. This was my thinking at the time. I have since then adjusted those orders. All right. So here's the situation in the center. These routed units for the French are coming down here. You can see them right here. Let's use a brighter, maybe this green will work better. Yeah, there's the routed French. These are mostly guys trying to take La Haye Sainte, which is being held strongly by the British here at this time. Also, an assault by this corps was also defeated and pushed back. You can see La Haye Sainte had pushed them back, and so you don't see them in the picture, but there's a sort of a slope up here, and the French tried to climb the slope, and they went back down the slope, is what happened to them. All right. So that's more or less the situation in the center. Now, at the end of that turn, we then have the situation. Let me just check ahead. Yeah, okay. This is the end of turn 3. You can see there's hardly been any change to the map because hardly anything happened. The turn ended so quickly. So I proceeded to the 4 p.m. turn, and a few more things happened. This is worth pointing out here. I want to show you this advance here by the Prussian. You'll see the Prussians came in and did an attack on the flank of the First Corps here. This is their cavalry. Meanwhile, the French, you can see up at the top of the map, this cavalry corps swept through to threaten this flank. Okay. This caused this British division here, Picton's division, to change their orders, and they pulled away from this position to stop the cavalry from coming around too much. There's some other of Picton's cavalry over here, but since Picton's way over here, he can't command those guys. They can only sort of mill around more or less ineffectively on independent movement. So here, not much has changed. The Sixth Corps, going back over to this French side, you can see they're moving more or less over here. The British did try a charge into this area, and they were halted more or less effectively by some other cavalry. So that side, I would say, is stabilized. There's a stabilized line here between. Let me just draw. What can I use? Draw a stabilized line. How about this blue? So we got a line right here. You can see Hougoumont is still quite safe. La Haye Sainte is quite safe. Papillote, I think that's Papillote, kind of holding out on its own over here um, because the Prussian cavalry came in. Okay, so that's the start of the 4 p.m. turn. Then at 5 p.m., let's see what happened at that point in time. There was a lot that happened. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it easily here, but at this stage, the Prussian cavalry was more or less wiped out. The Guard cavalry came up with much higher morale, did some charges. They also, uh, one of the things that you'll find out in this game, or maybe you already know, is that when you route, you have to route. Oh, that's not a good. No, let's erase that. When you wind up routing, okay, you have to route towards your stars, your supply lines. The supply line for the Prussians is over here at this star. So what had happened was I had curled around some cavalry to do a rear attack. And of course, that would have been cutting the guys off the French off. The French have to retreat down this way where their supply line is. So what happened there was if this attack had been successful by the Prussians, the other French units that were being attacked wouldn't have had a place to rout or retreat to because they wouldn't be getting closer to their supply line. So if you're routing and you don't get closer to your supply hex, you're eliminated. Unfortunately for the Prussians, the same thing was going to face them. And they did this 2-to-1 attack and they gacked it. I think they rolled a 12, and then they also routed after the attack, and they couldn't route far enough to get closer to their supply hex. So they were eliminated. After that, so that was the first step of the Prussian disaster. And I think that's the best way to call it. It was a disaster. Then you can see. So there were some Prussian cavalry corps, cavalry regiments up in this area. You can see next to that. You see these blue guys. These are the French Guard cavalry. They came up and countercharged here. Um, I'm not really sure. Oh, I see. These are markers or something. I don't know why the size changes all the time. I have to figure that out. Okay. Anyway, they charged and destroyed. I mean, they just rolled really well. Their morale is much higher than the Prussian cavalry. Prussian cavalry in this particular battle isn't to write home about. I think their morale is a 7. You've got the Guard cavalry here. Some of these guys have a morale of 11. It's an automatic -5 when they're charging these Prussian cavalry, and they were just toasted. They were rolling negative numbers. Everything was being eliminated like that. And literally 75% of the Prussian cavalry is gone. I think we've got down here, you will see they've got a little bit left right here. Okay. And even these guys are a little bit scared. Now you can see now how these Prussians are moving in. Also notice here another corps of Prussians is coming in, and they're heading this direction. So that's an ominous sight. Now take a look at what happened over here. Look what the French did. I'm going to try to change the size. You see over here the French, they managed to blast the first guards. The guards ran. Here's the the guards have been demoralized, and the British guards are running for the hills. They ran so far. Wellington came over here. He's too far away to rally them, actually, because the turn ended at the wrong time. Wellington came over here to rally them, then never got a chance to activate again and try to rally them, and then they routed further away. So poor planning on my part with Wellington. So now you see all these British routed units up here in this sector, and you see they don't have far to go before they route off the map. Already over here, you can see routed units from both sides. Okay, have routed off the maps on their respective sides. Of course, the French ones routed on the south, on the bottom side of the map. All right, so Hougoumont is in danger, basically. All right. So what I've done, as I told you, this score is basically tied up 500 points each, more or less. And these areas with the dots, I'll show them to you now. I have, let's see, I think I can put circles here, right? Is that what that does? Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's also one up here and one down here. Okay. These, and there's one here. Okay. The key ones are the ones where I've put 3 of those things. Okay. So you'll see, for example, here. That's La Haye Saint. Oh, no, sorry, that's Hougoumont. Here, this is still possibly in danger. That's La Haye Saint. And here's Papillote. Oh, yeah, Papillote's here. Right, and I indicated the wrong place on the map before. Okay. So all of those are within reach of the French, but really only Hougoumont, which is really in trouble now, looks like it could fall to the French. Every time one of these victory conditions changes hands, one side gets 60 points, the other side loses 60. So it's a swing of 120 points. If you get my drift here, these are very important now. Uh, and there's going to be a lot of casualties here. Uh, this is Place Noire Church, and the Prussians are right on top of the guard. So there's going to be a huge clash here for that. These are the four critical areas. My guess is that these other areas here, which I'll put in green, are probably going to stay okay. They probably won't change hands. Um, unless there's now it's early for me to say that it's 5 o'clock, but this battle went into the night because it's summertime in Europe. It stays light pretty late. Okay, so this is one, and then the French down here, that is their supply hex. So the green ones probably not threatened. The yellow ones problematic. We'll have to see how this pans out, and the casualties are going to come into play. One of the reasons why the French have some extra casualties is because they've captured one leader and another one died on the battlefield, and these count as points in this game. So you've got to be careful uh, with your guys. So that's the situation here. We're going to start 5 o'clock next time. Well, when I say we, that's me, and then vicariously you, if you're watching this, participating in it. So thank you for listening to this presentation. I'm sorry it's a little bit late this week. I got totally swamped at work with unexpected uh, stuff, really, that really caused me to delay this, but it's Friday now. So I hope to get this up here shortly. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for watching. If you liked this, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. All right. If you didn't like it, okay. Thanks for watching all the way through so far. And talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.